Hi everyone, it's Kate Kalthoff and welcome to a Stampin' Chat with Kay. We are going to settle in and focus on creating 3 cards today. 2 of them are very similar, but they use a couple of different sheets of designer series paper, and they're so pretty. I wanted to share them with you. So the focus is going to be on Sale-a-bration designer series paper, and as you know, Sale-a-bration is almost over. Oh, it's hard to take, but yes, in about a week, I think we'll be having our last day of Sale-a-bration. And so far, these papers are still available. It is kind of tricky sometimes with all of the, sellouts we've had this year, but so far I think these papers are still available, so I want to promote them today just in case you don't already have them, because they are so beautiful and so much fun to work with. Hello everybody, it's so great to see you joining me. Hi Tammy and Jean and Janine and Philomena and Lisa and Karen. Welcome, it's great to have you here. Thank you again for joining me. Let me just refresh my screen here a little bit. We're going to have some fun today. My giveaway is going to be pretty neat. I'm going to give away Calypso Coral Satin Ribbon, 2 yards of it, or I could give away 1 yard of Whisper White Flax, or I could give away, what's the other ribbon that I'm using? The Calypso Coral let me look at that again. The Granny Apple Green / Pool Party reversible ribbon, which could be my other option to give away. Or we could do Granny Apple Green ribbon. Let's just put it this way. I'll let you pick the giveaway and I'll do the sending out. So I will do a drawing on Wednesday morning, sometime Wednesday morning. It's sometimes early, sometimes late, just depending on how busy my day is. But if you make comments on this video, either now or between now and the time that I do the drawing, your name goes in, or you can share this video on your Stampin' Up! On your personal timeline, and then of course let me know in the comments that you've shared, and that's another way to get your name in the drawing. So it's great to have you all here. Hello, thank you again for joining me. It's so fun. So I have a whole bunch of things to share with you today. In addition to the cards and the designer series paper that we're going to be creating with, we have some really neat things that I want to share with you from Spring Fling. My downline and I put on a big event this past weekend, and we had 114 or so attendees at our event, and we created name tags for everybody. We had a little chocolate treat for everybody. We had a little product gift bag for everybody, and then of course project bags for everybody that contained all of the different cards that we were stamping and all the pieces for those cards. So it's great to have you here again. So I think I'm going to just flip the camera down and I'm going to start going through a couple of the things that we did at Spring Fling, at least some of the decorated project things that we shared with all of our attendees. And then I have a few cards to share with you that came in the mail since our last time that we've done a Facebook Live, a Stampin' Chat with Kay. So I have 3 cards there to share with you. So give me a second to flip the camera down and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, let's go with this. So the first thing I want to do is share with you our project bag. So this was our project bag for Spring Fling, which is what we put all of our projects in that we worked on for the day. You might notice some pretty paper on here. We have our Gingham Gala 6x6 designer series paper, which honestly, I don't think it's available right now. I mean, I think you can still order it, but I think it would be a back order item, so it would come in when it's available. Then you see this black and white piece back here, and that is our botanical butterfly paper, and that's one of the papers that we'll be featuring today. And I just want to do a little shout out to my niece, who is Molly Kalthoff. She is the one that did all of these bags for me over Christmas. And at the time, we did not know that the butterfly items would sell out like in 3 weeks. and not be available now until April. So that was a little bit disappointing for all of us at Spring Fling, because we made some beautiful cards and we wanted to just, you know, use this butterfly stuff, but really it was only demonstrators pretty much that had this stuff, because our customers, unless they ordered really quickly, they did not get it. And so, of course, you can order it in April. I believe that's when it's next available. But we had all of these things made up probably by the 10th of January, because my niece, she is Johnny on the spot and got all of these bags done for us. All right, so I'm going to put this aside. The next thing we had is we had a little product gift bag. All of these little gift bags contained the happiness, oh no, what is it called now? It's the Happiness Blooms enamel dots, and then also a half pack of our rhinestones. And so that was our customer product gift for our big day. And these were created by my downline member, Michelle. And so again, she did all the punching and all of the work with this. And this is Itty Bitty Birthdays, I believe. And it's so cute because it works so perfect for our event. And so they get this right away when they walk in the door, and it said, it's sure to be a fun day. So you know we were setting up for some fun when they got this product gift bag. And again, we're using the Butterfly Designer Series paper here. This is the Botanical Butterfly. Again, you can see the checks in the background. So one of the things I love about this Botanical Butterfly paper is that you get a lot of black and white, which is so useful for year-round crafting. All right, so I'll set that aside. And then the next thing we did is, look at this. Look at this, isn't it so cute? So on the side, we have two darling little chocolates that are held together in a little strip of our Gingham Gala 6x6 Designer Series paper. And then to create the pennants, because I'm just checking, it's 1.5 inches wide. And then you just pennant punch, you know, the triple banner punch, you just punch out the ends, and then it's stapled together at the top to hold in the two chocolates. And then the butterfly punch coordinates with the Botanical Butterfly Designer Series paper so that you can just punch out a couple of butterflies, add a sweet little jewel to one of them, and you are ready to go with your cute little chocolate treat holder. So this is so much fun, and this is what a little something that everybody got after lunch to get them through the afternoon, because chocolate always helps. And then, of course, we had name tags. Everybody that walked in the door got a name tag. Of course, if you were one of my downline, you got a special name tag. So you got this really cool piece of sparkle glimmer paper added to your name tag just to set you apart so that everybody knew that you were a demonstrator. And then again, using the Butterfly Duo Punch, we punched out some butterflies from that wonderful paper pack called Botanical Butterfly, which is available with a $50 purchase. It's totally free once you place the $50 order. And then here's some little jewels that we added to the butterfly. And I just want to give a little shout out that this was created by my downline member, Kim Lundstrom. And I should also mention who created this. This was created by two of my downline members, and they worked together on this project. This was Doreen Bai and Laura Erickson. So I had lots of help creating and making all of the things that went with our big event that we had on Saturday called Spring Fling. So hope you've enjoyed seeing those little goodies. Let me set that out of the way. Then I want to share with you a beautiful card that I got in the mail from Marty. Thank you so much, Marty. Now, one thing that I do for my customers that some of you are aware because you're also my customer, you know that for any Stampin' Up! Order that's $25 to $150, well actually $149.99, if you use a host code on those orders, I give you a paper perk. And so this happened to be a paper perk that I had sent Marty's way because she's always really good about using a host code. And she made a beautiful thank you card for me that used that little sheet of paper from our Petal Promenade Designer Series paper pack. So the paper always varies, but it's always current designer series paper, and it's always given to you when you use a host code and place an order under $150. Now, if you're really close to $150, I suggest getting to $150 because you will get your paper perk automatically from me. You don't have to use you definitely don't want to use a host code at $150 or above, because then you'll miss out on host rewards from Stampin' Up. So you want to make sure you get those free rewards that come with placing that large of an order. But anyway, thank you so much, Marty. I love it. And I have a surprise for you, Marty, because look what came today. Yay! Your Wonderful Moments stamp set, which I'll be mailing to you. Marty is one of my awesome customers, and that means that every time she places orders with increments of $50, she gets a happy stamper token, and when she gets 10 tokens, she gets a free stamp set of her choice. And so she picked the Wonderful Moments stamp set, so I know she'll enjoy using this stamp set. So I will be putting that in the mail for you, Marty, tomorrow. So I'm going to set this aside. We have another card that I received from a downline member. This one is from Stacy Barrett, and I was so surprised. She gave it to me at Spring Fling, and I just love it. She said she had woke up at 2:30 in the morning and couldn't sleep, so she decided to get up and make Stampin' Up! Cards. So she went to her craft room and started making cards, and she made this one for me. And I have to show it to you because it uses a Sale-a-bration stamp set that is called Part of My Story, and it's so sweet. It says, "I'm so glad you are a part of my story." And again, that is the Part of My Story stamp set, part of our Sale-a-bration offerings, which is available just for another week or so. But thank you so much, Stacy. I love it, and it really touches my heart that you are so excited to be a part of our Stampin' Up! Group. The next card I received in the mail, this one in the mail, was just today. I went out to my mailbox and look what I found. A beautiful, gorgeous Lasting Lily card. And it uses the Butterfly Designer Series paper that we're going to be using today. So it just ties in perfectly with this video that I'm doing. And it's just lovely. It's actually an Easter card. And so the lilies are so appropriate for making an Easter card. And this is our Lasting Lilies stamp set. When you purchase a $100 product order from Stampin' Up, you get the choice of a $100. If you want to, you can either get two $50 items or one $100 item as a freebie. And the Lasting Lily stamp set is a $100 item freebie. And so thank you so much, Carol Sullivan. I really love having you in my downline. You're a huge source of inspiration to me and to many others of our Stampin' Up! Family. So thank you again. I love it. And of course, she wrote all these nice things on the inside, but I'll just keep that for myself. Of course, it's decorated, because Carol would never send a card without a decorated inside. She's just so thoughtful like that. Okay, so I need to move some things off my desk because we are about to get ready to make some cards. So hold on a second. All right, so let me show you the first card that we're going to create. It is this one, and it's the one that I put up on Instagram today and then shared with you on Facebook. And so this is a crossover gatefold card, and it's one of the cards that we did at Spring Fling on Saturday. So this is how you open it. Just open it up like a gatefold card, but it has those two swing pieces. So I think it's kind of cool. I called it a crossover card. And I had seen the crossover cards that were done the other way, where there's three pieces kind of interlocking. But I thought that was maybe a little bit too detailed for something like Spring Fling, where we have over 100 people that are coming through our event. But I wanted to do something fun. And so this just seemed like the perfect answer. I was just playing around with cardstocks and gatefold, and this is what I came up with, and I love it. I think I designed this back in December, and I've just been chomping at the bit to wanting to share it with you. And finally, today is the day. But I do want to keep a few things, of course, for surprises at Spring Fling. So this was one of them. So let's go ahead and make this card right now. So I am going to grab all of my pieces here. So we don't actually use the Big Shot machine with this one. It's a real easy card to make, and so we are going to be using something that's a limited edition item just during the month of March, and it's our story label punch. So we'll be using this. And so let me go ahead and get this all ready. So the stamp set that we're using, because it offers 3 different sentiments, is called Humming Along. And I love this stamp set. I love all of the sentiments because it's everything that you really need in a stamp set if you're sitting down to make cards. So you've got your thank you, hope you feel better really soon, and a birthday sentiment, wishing you an amazing birthday. And I've seen these sentiments over and over and over since the stamp set debuted in our occasions catalog back on January 3rd. So I love this stamp set. We are going to be using the thank you. This one here is a get well card, but we're going to use the thank you. And we're going to start with some Grapefruit Grove paper. This is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and then I've gone ahead and turned it into a gatefold by scoring it at 2 3/4 and 8 1/4. And so let me grab my bone folder, and we'll go ahead and we'll just score we'll just fold in towards the mountain. I always have people ask me which way to fold. So towards the mountain is how you do it to get the least amount of breakage on your fold. All right, and then we'll go ahead and we'll do our inside panel right away because we aren't stamping anything on the inside panel, so it's going to be a pretty easy thing to put together. We've got a piece of Whisper White that is 4 by 5 1/4, and we have a piece of our Botanical Butterfly Designer Series paper, which, again, we're using the little checks. So I just want to quickly go through what this butterfly paper looks like. You can fussy cut these butterflies on this side, and here's our black and white check. Then we have all of these butterflies here, just makes a gorgeous background. And then we have the white and black dotted paper. This is beautiful for Easter cards. It's Highland Heather, and I love this look. And so it doesn't matter how you orientate the paper because it's going to look good in any direction. Really like this paper. And on the other side, of course, we have black and white. So this is our botanical butterfly in the black and white. Then we have black and white on this one as well. And what I've seen a lot of demonstrators do with this is they'll take their Stampin' blends and they will either color a butterfly, leaving the background around it just plain, or they might color in some of the background and leave the butterfly plain. But you can do a lot with this Designer Series paper. Then on the other side, we have some punchable butterflies, or you can just use them as they are. And then on this side, we have more punchable butterflies, or you can use them as they are. So we'll be using just a strip of this particular paper. So I just want to show you the main card again. So there's a lot of color variation throughout this paper. You can see that this one has a lot of a deeper orange color on it. But yet the same paper pack also offers the color in kind of a daffodil and a grapefruit grove as well. And of course, we have a black and white on the other side of that. And then we have a lemon lime twist with lots of different foliage. And then black and white butterflies on this side. And that was what Laura and Doreen used on our chocolate treat holders for Spring Fling. Just punched them all out, so it's great. Okay, so let's get back to this card. So again, we're going to use a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4 inch strip of the Checkered Designer Series paper. And just to keep this nice and simple and a little bit fast, since we're doing 3 cards today, I'm just going to put a little snail on the back of this. And we are going to set this on here and just put that flush with the bottom of the card. Give that a press. And then if there's a little bit of an overhang, which I'm spying on this card, just take your scissors and trim that flush to the back. There we go. Now we're going to take our snail and just put 1 strip across the top. I often have people ask me, well, why don't you just put it all over? Well, actually, I don't, because I want to keep this nice and elegant. And the looser and more flowing your card is, just think of wedding cards or anniversary cards. They always have a lot of loose and flowiness to them, and that's more of an elegant look, and that's my favorite kind of card to make. It's a more elegant looking card. So now we're going to flip this over because it's driving me crazy that I didn't use my bone folder quite hard enough on this, because I want to make sure that this stays a little bit flat for us. The next thing that we're going to do is do our stamping for our panel. So I'm going to use our StazOn black ink. I'm going to take the Thank You from Humming Along. And I don't know, did I tell you what kind of paper this was? I kind of feel like I didn't. This is shimmery white. So this is a scrap of shimmery white, but you could use Whisper White as well. I just wanted to give it a little bit more of an elegant touch because the shimmery white has a little bit of sparkle to it. So I inked up the StazOn, and there it is. Thank You. And that's the one we're going to make today. And now I'm going to take the Story Label Punch, which is one of our limited edition items called Sale-a-bration Coordination, available only through March 31st. So we'll just center this in here. Usually when you're punching a sentiment out, you want to go at it from the back side of your punch so that you can get it in there exactly where you want it. And that looks good. Another thing you can do is once you have your punch out like this and you want to see how it's going to punch out with other sentiments that you might have, you can just take this scrap and hold it right up to your stamp case, and you can just check to make sure it's going to fit. Now this isn't true with all stamp cases. Sometimes they show everything at a reduced image. However, typically in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, they have everything full size, so you can even hold this up to sentiments in the catalog to see if it will fit. And you can see all three of these fit just perfectly. All right, so let's go ahead now and do our panels. So I'm going to bring the original card here back into the photo. So we've got two panels that we want to do. And let me grab those panels out. So we're going to take two pieces of basic black is the next step, and the basic black is cut a shade shorter than 2 inches high. So a shade is, I consider a shade to be 1/16 of an inch. So here you go, guys, crazy measurements from Kay, but you always say you want to know how I do things, so this is how I do it. If I have it a full 2 inches, what happens is that you end up covering up more of your card, especially through the center, and you can't see that well-defined the three Grapefruit Grove strips that go through here. It does make a difference because that ends up, when you add 1/16 and 1/16, you get 1/8 of an inch, which is just enough to make, like this right here would be like 1/8 of an inch. It's just enough to make this line not show up. So again, you want to have your height at 1 15/16 by 5 1/4, and you're going to do that for both black panels. All right, so hope you guys don't mind that I share that, but I had to share why I did that. So you can imagine cutting this paper for all 114 of my attendees. You know, I had to like put my eagle eyes on because I was trying to make it just a little bit shorter than 2 inches. And here is our Botanical Butterfly Designer Series paper using the check background, and this is cut at 1 3/4 by 5 inches. So we are just going to put that on with some snail. And then because it's kind of hard for me to see the black against the black mat, let me go ahead and bring in my Stampin' mat, because I happen to have a little piece of scrap on here, and that way I'll be able to see it and you will too. So I'm just going to set this on here, and I want it to be even from side to side and top to top, and that looks good. And then here's my next piece of paper, and again, this is cut at the same size, 1 3/4 by 5 inches, and this is my butterfly panel. So we're going to be putting that at the top of the card. Again, we'll just add a little snail, and we're going to set this in, making sure that our right, left, top, and bottom are all about equal, and that looks good. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I just love this paper. All right, so now we're going to do the crossover part. So on the top, we are going to put some snail in the upper left-hand side, and on the bottom, we're going to put some snail on the lower right-hand side. So to do that, we're going to remove these for a moment. We're going to add some snail right here, and you could also use glue, and then we're going to add some snail down here. And again, you could also use glue for this. Then you're going to set your top piece in, and making sure your right, left, and top is all pretty much centered, and give that a good press. Really burnish that in on the left-hand side so it grabs really well. Then we're going to take the checker background and we're going to put that over the top. And again, you want to make sure the right, left, top, and bottom are all pretty equal. And then again, you're going to burnish that in on the right. And that looks great, doesn't it? Now let's go ahead and add some ribbon at the bottom. So that could be one of the giveaways. So again, if you're joining us, you know, leave a little note. Let me know where you're watching from. Say hello. Tell me what card you like the best, because that will be helpful when I do the giveaway, to know which card to give you and to know which ribbon to give you, because you'll have a choice of 3 cards, 3 ribbons. So I'm just going to cut this at an angle, and we're going to set this down. And I don't know, I suppose I cut off about 4 inches there. I just cut it straight off the roll. And then we're going to set this aside. And this, again, is ribbon that is from our Occasions catalog, and it's our Calypso Coral Satin Ribbon. So I'm going to flip this over. We're going to take our snail, and we're just going to put a little snail on the back of this ribbon. So I'm just going to add a little snail to the back. Putting ribbon on with snail works so slick because it really sticks to the ribbon really, really well. And then we'll just center this on here, and that looks pretty good, nice and centered. Burnish it down. Then we're going to take some dimensionals and add some dimensionals to our thank you. I can look up here now and see who's all watching me. Welcome everyone, it's so nice to have you here. Thank you for joining me today. Be sure you share this video on your timeline and let me know that you've shared so you can be in on the drawing that we're going to do on Wednesday. Or just say, hello, Kay, I'm watching from California, or wherever you happen to be from. It's always kind of fun for me to find out where everybody's from. All right, so we're going to set this right here in the middle. And the way I'm doing this is I see where my gatefold is, so I want to kind of line up the middle of this punch out with that gatefold line, and then I can also see where the ribbon is, so I want to make sure I'm getting this about even over the top of the ribbon. So we are just going to set this in, and that looks good. Give that a press, and our card is complete. Nice and simple, a beautiful crossover gatefold. So this is the completed card. And I did want to show you also just how different this designer series paper is, because at the top of the page it's a little bit darker of an orange, and then kind of through the middle of the page you get more of a soft grapefruit grove look, and then towards the bottom of the page you get more of a soft So Saffron or light Daffodil Delight look. So this is the first card that we are doing with the Botanical Butterfly Designer Series paper, and I see lots of hearts. Thank you all so much. I so appreciate it. That's going to keep me going for the next 2 cards. So now let's go ahead and look at the next 2 cards that we're making, and I'll be making these 2 simultaneously because they are the same design, but they just use different pieces of paper from our Painted Bundle Designer Series paper. So the cards look like this, and again, these are cards that we created at our spring fling this past weekend, and they are so pretty. I just had so much fun designing these. Again, I designed these, oh my goodness, sometime in February, I think, because demonstrators had an early offer order option to get this ahead of time so we could start designing with it. This was our second release Stampin' Up! Product here, and it's still available as far as I know. You can get it. You can get the paper, which is called Painted Seasons Designer Series paper. You can get the paper by itself with a $50 product purchase from Stampin' Up! So the paper looks like this, and we're going to be using all 4 different sheets. So we're going to use the, oh dear, what is that called? Those little plants that look like this. Oh no. I keep wanting to say eucalyptus, but I know it's not eucalyptus. That grows in Australia or someplace. And I know we have these plants at home. My mother called them hen and chicks, but I cannot for the life of me think of what these plants are called. I just remembered. I think they're called succulents. So these are succulent plants, and they are beautiful. So we're going to use that on this card. And then on this card, we're using all of these gorgeous kind of poppy-like flowers. On this card, well, as you can imagine, it's a 4 seasons designer series paperback, so you have your fall look. So I consider this spring, summer, fall, but we're not actually going to use the fall. We're going to use the back side of the paper, which to me looks very summery, so we're going to use this. And then here's our winter paper, but we're not going to use the winter paper. We're going to use the back side, which is this pool party chevron look. So let's go ahead and start making these 2 cards. And again, we're going to make these at the same time. So I need to move some things off my desk here because otherwise it just gets too crowded. All right. Are you ready to roll? Okie doke. So let's get rolling here. Whoops. I want to make sure we're still good. All right. So this is the 2 cards we're going to make. I'm going to grab all of the products that we need here, and I'm just going to show you what we're going to be doing on the Big Shot. First of all, we are going to be using the oval layering framelits from Stampin' Up, one of my favorites. You get 8 straight ovals and 7 scallop ovals for only $35. That has got to be one of the best deals in the catalog because you're getting 15 cutouts. And you can imagine with the average punch at Stampin' Up being around $15, if you took $15 and times it by 18, that's how much this would be if these were all punches. But luckily for us, they are ovals, and you get 2 different kinds, straight and scallop, for only $35, 15 different pieces, which I just think is such an amazing deal. And then this is another stamp or another set of dies that I love called our Stitched Shapes Framelits. And the reason I love them so much is because they provide a little bit of stitching on your cutout. So I'm going to hold this up to the camera really close so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that beautiful stitching on that oval. All right, so let's go ahead now and start making these cards. Sorry, I'm not getting comments on my screen, and I thought at first it was because nobody loved me. But now I'm seeing, when I stood up to show you that close-up, I see that you're making lots of comments on my phone, but I can't read them, and my screen has frozen, so I can't see comments when I'm looking at my iPad. So I'm so sorry about that. So I'll have to go through all of these later and look at those comments later. So please keep commenting. I'm just very sorry I can't respond in real time. All right, so the 2 stamp sets we're going to use for this card, of course, are the Painted Seasons. This one can be bundled with the Designer Series paper, and it's a $100 product purchase during Sale-a-bration, and you can get the paper and the stamp set as a freebie item with a $100 purchase. Or you can get just the paper with a $50 purchase now through the end of the month, provided all of this is still available. So far, I think it is. The other stamp set that we're going to be using is our Varied Vases stamp set, which can come with a punch. So you can bundle it and save 10% if you want to get the vase punch at the same time. One of my very favorite things about the stamp set are these sentiments. Thanks, hello, birthday wishes, but what I really love about these sentiments are the font. The font is so cute and sweet. In fact, I'll just show you the inside of the card here, but doesn't that look cute? Isn't that just the sweetest font you've ever seen? I just love it. Okay, so let's get started with these cards. And as I mentioned, we're going to do them both at the same time. So we're going to have 2 pieces of cardstock. Both of them will be cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. One of these pieces of cardstock is Calypso Coral, so that's this one, and the other one is Pool Party. So those are the 2 colors that we're using because they coordinate with the Designer Series paper, the Painted Seasons Designer Series paper. Now this stamp, or this Pool Party, is actually light enough that we don't need an insert on the inside, so I'm just going to leave that plain. But this one is a little bit darker, so it's a little harder to stamp and see what everything is as you're stamping it. In a pinch you could do it, but I think it looks nicer with a piece of paper over the top. So we're going to take a Whisper White panel that's 4 1/4 by 5.5, and we're going to do a little stamping. So let me grab my Calypso Coral ink pad, and then I've got my pretty kind of poppy looking stamp, and I'm going to stamp this off once. So I'm going to grab some scrap paper here, stamp it off once, and then we're going to stamp it on this Whisper White right here in the center. Well, not quite in the center, about 1/3 of the way down. And then we're going to take some early espresso ink, and we're going to stamp our inside panel sentiment. Now this is a photopolymer set, and so I'm going to use my Stampin' mat just to make sure I get the very best image possible. And we're going to ink this stamp from, I think it's called Varied Vases. Yes, the Varied Vases stamp set. We're just going to put that right over the top of that flower. Now the flower looks quite a bit lighter because we stamped it off once, and so that will allow the early espresso to look very vibrant against that floral background. And it says, hoping your day blooms with happiness. The perfect inside sentiment for this card. And you can put a little strip of coordinating Designer Series paper at the bottom like it shows in the sample. However, I did not do that at Spring Fling because I was getting very low on that Designer Series paper and did not have enough to cut for everybody. So that is why you did not get that. So we are just going to take, again, a little snail, and we're going to put that on the inside panel. And the inside panel of the Calypso Coral is done. So as long as we're at it, let's go ahead and do the inside panel for the Pool Party. So we're going to take our Pool Party ink, and we are going to ink up that succulent stamp. I remembered it now. So we're just going to ink that up. And this one, because Pool Party is a little bit lighter of an ink pad, we don't need to stamp off. We can just stamp full strength straight down on our Pool Party paper. Then we're going to get that same sentiment, ink it up with the early espresso, and just put that right over the top. And so give that a second to rest so that the ink goes nice into your cardstock. And there it is. Hoping your day blooms with happiness. I love that sentiment. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and get the Big Shot machine into the picture because we have some Big Shot work to do. So let me move a few things out of the way, and we will do that. So here is the Big Shot machine. Probably my favorite tool at Stampin' Up. And then I also really like using the magnetic platform because I do a lot of cutting on my Big Shot machine. I think if I didn't do quite so much cutting as I do, you don't necessarily have to have the magnetic platform, but it's very handy if you do a lot of die cutting with framelits because the magnet helps to hold everything in place. So what we are going to do is we're going to cut something two at a time here. So we've got 2 panels of paper. Both of them are cut to the same size, 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And one of them is in early espresso, and the other one is, let me think, Blushing Bride. So we've got Blushing Bride and early espresso. We're just going to put those together like so. And then we're going to take one of those ovals and you want to just put it in here so that it is about as even from the top as it is from the right and the left. And when you have that all in place so that all three of those sides look pretty even, then go ahead and put your non-cutting plate over the top, because I always keep one cutting plate aside that I do not actually use as a cutting plate. You're going to put that over the top so you can make sure it doesn't wiggle on you. And then you're just going to run it through, and you should be able to cut both pieces at the same time. Hopefully. So here is our panel of Blushing Bride, and that was on the bottom. That worked perfect. And this one was on top, the Early Espresso, and that also worked perfect. Now what you're going to do, so we're going to use that in a second. What you're going to do now is you're going to take these panels, and I think you can do both at the same time again. So we're going to run these through the Big Shot again. This is very paper saving, so I hope you appreciate how thrifty I'm being. So I'm normally not. But look at how slick this works. So you're going to take your scallop oval over the top of these two panels, and you're going to cut it out so we get a sentiment panel. Then you're going to also take a piece of scrap Whisper White. You're going to set that down here, and you're going to use, oh dear, I hope I can find it. Here it is. You're going to use your oval stitched shape. So you're going to put this on, and this you cannot do two at a time. I tried and it did not work, so you have to run this through twice. So we're just going to put this non-cut plate over the top. We're going to run it through. And here is what we'll be stamping on, our little stitched oval. And we also have what we're going to layer that stitched oval over the top of. So we've got a little scallop Blushing Bride panel and a scalloped Early Espresso panel. So I'm going to set those aside. And then we're going to run this scrap of white through the Big Shot one more time, so that we have everything we need to complete our cards. There we go. Now we are ready to do some stamping. So let me set this aside. We want to get the Big Shot back out of the way. And look at this, you've got a couple of little ringers here. You could do something fun with those too. So that's kind of cool. All right, so hold on. Let me get this set aside. And again, I apologize. I know some of you are commenting and probably even asking me questions. My iPad froze. I can see nothing on it. It is not telling me anything, but I know when I peeked over the top of my phone before, I did see you were responding to me. I just couldn't see it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to decorate these front panels here. So I have got two pieces of paper cut at exactly the same size, and this is the pool party paper, and this one is it kind of looks like kind of a mixture of Calypso Coral and Poppy Parade, and this is 2 inches by 3 1/4 inch, and both were cut at the exact same size. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pool party one, and we're going to put that over the top of this panel here that is in Blushing Bride. So we're just going to make sure that our right, left, and bottom, well, that didn't work. Hold on. I'm going to put it this way so I can see better what I'm doing. So you want to make sure the top and the sides, well, in this case, the bottom and the sides are even. There, that looks good. Then we're going to do the same thing for this one. I do better if I have it up like this. I'm going to flip it over. And again, just put that on there so that all 3 borders are even. And it looks so awesome. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some ribbon to this wrap. So we have, and again, this will be some options for those of you that are making comments, asking questions, telling me where you're from. this is all going to be an option for our 2 winners. They can pick whatever card they want, and they can pick whatever ribbon they want. They'll get 2 yards of the Calypso Coral, or 2 yards of our reversible ribbon, or they can get a yard of our flax ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take snail, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to add some snail to the back of this ribbon, because again, snail works really, really well for applying ribbon. So now that I have my ribbon all snailed up, I can just go ahead and we're just going to put this straight through the center. Once you got that in there, then just burnish it down with your fingers, flip it over, take your ribbon scissors. You can designate your ribbon scissors with a ribbon. That really helps you figure out what's what. Flip it over, and then you can just cut off the excess. And your ribbon is trimmed up and ready to go. So let me get this one out of the way. And then the other ribbon we're going to use, now this ribbon has kind of been a problem. The reason is it's been going on and off back order. So originally, oh, and this isn't even the right ribbon. Hold on. Oh dear, I don't know what to do. I wanted to show you the ribbon that I was going to use, and for some reason, oh, here it is. Nope, that's not it. Well, for heaven's sakes. You know what? I have to go into my one little scrap of ribbons that I have left from, this was my sample pack to show people what my ribbon shares look like. So I had this sitting here, so I'm just going to grab it. I do have more of this around, but let me get back. So this is why it's such a conundrum. We did not have very much of this ribbon at Spring Fling. Oh, here, this is what I wanted. So we had, because it was on back order and I couldn't order it in time to prepare for Spring Fling. So then what we did at Spring Fling is we used the Granny Apple green ribbon, which looked fantastic. Look how pretty that is there. And that was great. Well, then 2 days before Spring Fling, my big order came that I was trying to have in time for Spring Fling came in, and I had already decided to use that for something else that we have coming up for on stage. And so, you know, I was going to do something with that at Spring Fling and then couldn't. So, I don't know. Now I've got all this ribbon. But anyway, now it's on back order again, I believe. And so, I don't know what to do. It's just like, it's just so popular, we cannot keep it in stock. So I think this is Granny Apple Green and Calypso, or no, Granny Apple Green and Coastal Cabana are the 2 sides. And I have no idea what I was calling it before because I didn't have it in front of me and I was, who knows what I was calling it. Apparently one day on a Facebook Live, I called Calypso Coral Pool Party the entire time, and I had some very helpful people point out that it was not Calypso Coral, it was Pool Party. So, you know, sometimes what you see and what comes out of your mouth is 2 different things. But this is Granny Apple Green and Calypso Coral, and it's our reversible ribbon, and sometimes we have it and sometimes we don't. Right now, I don't think we have it again, but we did have it for a few days. So I'm going to create with it, and since I have some on hand, that can be the giveaway if you want it, if you're one of our winners on Wednesday. That's what I was trying to say, everybody. All right, so we're gonna put that down with a little Scotch tape, and it's pretty. It's just pretty. Okay, so now we're going to take those little pieces that we cut out with the Big Shot machine because we've got a little stamping we need to do. So let me grab my ink again. So we're gonna start with the Pool Party, and we are going to stamp full strength, and I do need my scrap because this will stamp off a little bit. So let's stamp our Pool Party full strength over here on the left side of this oval. This is our stitch shape oval. And it looks really bright right now, but trust me, once it dries, it fades down a little bit. And then we're going to open up the early espresso again, and we're going to stamp happy birthday, or birthday wishes, I think it is. Birthday wishes. So we're going to ink that up. And then right through the center, we're going to put birthday wishes. So let that settle into the oval a little bit. There it is. And then we're going to flip that over and add some dimensionals, which are right here. You guys, this is so lonely. I can't see any comments. I have no idea if anybody's watching. It's just kind of sad. Oh, I know a lot of you catch this later because you're at work and all that sort of thing on a Monday afternoon, but it's just so sad to be doing this all by myself. I know you're here, I just can't see you. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're just going to set it right over the top. And just like that, we have this almost done. Then we're going to take, and I want to show you this, we have to have some background paper in these ovals. So we're going to take a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch piece of paper, and we're going to tape that down behind this oval. Now, if you're really a little chintzy with your paper, you can make this 2 inches by 3 1/4. But I wanted to give everyone a little bit of fudging room because we had so many people, I wasn't sure how the lighting was going to be, so I made it a 1/4 inch larger than it probably needed to be, but it makes it a little easier for everyone to get that taped onto the back side. So I'm just going to flip that over, and I'm going to grab some Scotch tape here, and we're just going to tape that down. So one little piece of tape at the bottom, one little piece of tape at the top, and we got it done. So that is pretty much ready for our card. So I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to work on that second oval. Oh no, I missed something. You guys, did you catch it? I'm going to take this off real quick. I just realized what I forgot to do. So when this happens, to get your dimensionals off, just push them off with your fingertip. That's what I have to do sometimes when I mess up. And you also, there we go. If you just push hard enough, they just kind of roll off. But what I want to do with this is I actually do not want to have this dimensionalized just yet. I goofed up. See, I'm so sad and lonely here without being able to see your comments. I don't even know what I'm doing. All right, so we're going to layer this on top of this oval that we cut out. So I'm just going to put this on with snail. And we're going to set this right over the top of the oval. It's going to look better, I promise you. At first when I put it on there, I thought, wow, why does that look so naked? Well, it's because it was naked. It didn't have its little oval around it. So now I'm going to take the dimensionals and we're going to put that on. So you guys are getting it all today. You're getting to see me mess up. But that's okay, because everybody does. And it's pretty easy to hide once you know some little tricks. All right, so there we go. Now we can set this on here. And it just looks so much better instantly with that oval background, with that scalloped oval. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do the same to this card. So we're going to look at how beautiful that paper is against the early espresso. So we're going to flip this over. And again, we're just going to take a little Scotch tape, tape it over the top, tape it at the bottom, and then we're going to remember that we need our oval, so I'm going to put that in the picture here. Then we're going to do a little stamping. So we need our Calypso Coral ink, which is this one. Yep. And we're going to take that really pretty flower that sort of looks like a poppy, get that all inked up. We're going to stamp off once, and then we're going to stamp onto that stitch shape oval. So we get a little bit of a lighter image. Oh my Lord, that is so beautiful. I am going to hold this up to the camera so you can see how pretty this is. Oh, and I can see your comments. I wish I could see the comments, but I can't on my iPad. But I see Marty commented and Philomeno commented. Thank you, you guys. Anyway, oh, that just made me feel so better knowing you guys are there. All right, so now we're going to take the birthday wishes again. Oh, I'm all full of energy now that I know I have a few watchers. Thank you. So I'm inking up the birthday wishes. We're going to stamp this right over the top. And there it is. Looks so beautiful. I wish every one of you could win this drawing because these cards are so gorgeous. And now you're going to flip it over, add the snail. See? I can do this. I can do this without mistakes. And then we're going to put this over the top of that scalloped oval. And it might be a little wet yet, so I don't want to take a chance. So a lot of times when I'm doing my burnishing with wet ink, I just flip it over and I burnish from the back side. I'm sure you've all seen me do that. Now we're going to flip it over again and add the dimensionals to the back. I am so not messing up this one. I'm very proud of myself. So take dimensionals and get this oval popped up. And then we're going to set this right over the top of this flax ribbon. I love this flax ribbon. Do you know what I love the most about flax ribbon? I'm going to hold this up to the camera. It's actually just an excuse so I can see your comments again. But what I love about flax ribbon is, look at that. You can kind of see a little bit of the paper behind the flax. So it makes it look not so incredibly white. It makes it look, it sort of lets you take on the tone of whatever you're putting flax over. And so that's one of the things I love, love, love about flax ribbon. So I was so happy when I saw that, you know, we used to have flax a long time ago. And I was so happy when I saw it return to our occasions catalog. All right, so there it is over the top. And now we're just going to finish up these cards. So this is the easy part, everybody. We are going to put these on with dimensionals. So let me grab more dimensionals. And we really only need them in the corners because we already have a lot of dimensional going on through the center here. Well, maybe we'll put one right here. But this area already has a lot of dimensionals, so you don't need to put dimensionals there because that's going to stay up no matter what. All right, so we can add this to our Calypso Coral card. You just want to center it in the front. Make sure we're not doing it upside down. So center that in so the top, bottom, right, and left are all even. Gorgeous. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're just going to add some dimensionals here to the back. And again, I think I'll add one in the middle up here because this part of it isn't on dimensionals. Add one at each of the corners at the bottom. And we'll work all these little peelies off, and then we'll flip it over and center it onto our card. Well, I better make sure I have it right. I do. All right, so we're going to center this in, and it looks so pretty. There we go. Isn't it gorgeous, you guys? So it's kind of bugging me because it's popping around. So let me just use my bone folder so it lies flat for us because I want to put all these cards out for you. For those of you that are my customers and you are thinking about becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, be a part of something amazing. Stampin' Up! Is an amazing company to be a part of. So you have until March 31st to finalize that decision and be a part of my team of creative crafters stamping to share. Love to have you join us. And you can order the tote if you want as a perk, as a new demonstrator. Or if you are a customer and you're not interested in becoming a part of Stampin' Up, but you want to keep ordering from me and you haven't gotten all of the celebration items that you want, now is the time to do that because you have just until March 31st in order to get your celebration items. So thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this presentation. I truly appreciate you. I am looking forward to reading all of your comments, finding out where you're watching from, just seeing what you liked about these cards. And of course, on Wednesday, I'll do a little drawing and I'll give away whichever card you want. So you can pick the crossover card that looks like this, or you could pick one of these cards that's part of our Painted Seasons Designer Series paper. And that would be really fun. I'd love to mail those to you. You can also pick 2 yards of the Calypso Coral or you could get a yard of the flax, or you could get 2 yards of our reversible Granny Apple Green Coastal Cabana ribbon. So I will let you go, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.